Hello, and welcome to the Power BI September 2022 update. In this video, we'll explore what's new this month and see some demos of the highlights. We have some exciting updates for you in the reporting section. First, we've heard confusion from some of you about how to enable hierarchical access on Cartesian charts. So we're making some changes to the way our charts behave by default to help you better take advantage of the feature. Hierarchical x-axis are a good way to view multiple related dimensions in the x-axis of your charts. Rian will take us through a demo of our changes.
So, one of the cooler things that you can do with a lot of our Cartesian charts in Power BI is to organize multiple categorical fields into a hierarchical x-axis to show the way that they're subdivided. So, for example, suppose I had a category and I want to divide it into multiple category-unique subcategories. Or if I had a date hierarchy, like a bunch of years, months, quarters, days, and I wanted to divide the years into months and quarters, just to make it clear where on the timeline I am. That makes, using something like the legend or using something like small multiples a little less appealing. I actually want to split my x-axis up into a bunch of subcategories. Well, before this release, if you wanted to format a chart to use the hierarchical x-axis, it took a pretty long multi-step process, and it wasn't quite clear to the user what they had to do in order to enable that x-axis. So what do I mean by that? Here's what it might look like before. I have category, I dragged in the subcategory field well, and I have sales amount as my y-axis. The first thing I need to realize is, I don't actually get to see my subcategory on this chart. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to expand all down. But then all my labels are still concatenated. All of, category and subcategory are just, every permutation gets its own little column, and they're all just stuck, sorted in the same way. Why is that? It's because I actually need to go in and sort it differently. So I need to sort it by category, subcategory. And now at least all the top level categories are grouped together. Maybe I want to sort it ascending. But I still don't see a hierarchy axis. Why not? It's because there's also a formatting setting, which is concatenate labels, which takes the labels and concatenates them for each of the levels of hierarchy. And if I want to see an actual hierarchy, I don't want the labels next to each other. I want the labels put vertically into an actual hierarchy. So I'm going to turn off concatenate labels, which is on by default. And now I can finally get my hierarchy axis. So it's a few different steps, and maybe you won't realize that you have to sort, even if you turn off concatenate labels. Maybe you won't realize that you have to expand all down. Maybe you don't realize that there's a concatenate labels option. Sometimes you get pushed into Googling for it, but other times you don't even realize that it's an option at all. So there are a lot of barriers to making sure that this visual feature is discoverable. What we've done this month is we've changed a bunch of behavior to try to make sure that the hierarchy axis is actually turned on when you drag another field into the x-axis field well of your charts. So we've made a few different changes. Let me show you an example. I've made a new visual here, and what I'm going to start by dragging my category axis in here. I'm going to start by dragging sales amount into here. And I get the same default chart as before. But now, as soon as I drag the subcategory fields into the x-axis field well, I automatically get the end result chart that I had in my previous example by default. So what we've done is we've, first of all, turned off concatenate labels by default. Second of all, we auto-expand the charts every time you add a field into the x-axis field well, so that this way the chart is always expanded down to the lowest level, and because we always have concatenate labels on, you always get to see the hierarchy axis. And we will always sort by category by default once you drill down, which includes the automatic expand down. So now we have a categorically sorted chart with a hierarchy axis, which is presumably what you're looking for when you have multiple fields into your x-axis field well. So to summarize some of those changes, right? We have before, concatenate labels was on by default. Now it's off. Before, whenever you added a new field into the x-axis field well, it would show nothing on the visual. Like nothing on the visual would change. Now, as long as the visual supports hierarchy axis, we will automatically expand the field wells down, the x-axis field well down to the lowest level, as long as the axis itself is a categorical or a datetime axis. So a numerical field, when it's at the top of the hierarchy, will not expand things down, which means that if I had something like, I don't know, freight, lots of numbers, and then I dragged something else in, oh, that would turn into so many permutations. Oh, whoops. So it actually doesn't expand it down. But if you have a categorical hierarchy already, so like I had category in already, then numerical fields will automatically be interpreted as categories. So if I drag this in, then it will create the hierarchy axis. And obviously, when it comes to freight, that's not a very good example. So that's how we've changed the automatic expand down behavior. And lastly, we've changed the sort behavior. So now we will sort by category whenever A, again, the visual supports the hierarchy axis, B, when the visual is expanded down in any way, C, the user has not explicitly set a sort. So if I wanted to set this by sales amount descending, and I did this explicitly, so let's say I explicitly changed it to ascending sales amount, it doesn't matter if I add something new in, it will continue to respect my sort. And then lastly, you have to take an authoring action. So, that could be adding or removing a field that would not be manually expanding the visual. So we're not going to change the sort to a new default just because you've expanded the visual. We will continue to respect your default sort. And then otherwise, we will sort by measure. So we will maintain the current behavior. But hopefully, in a lot of the cases that you would be taking any of these actions, we are sorting it in the way that you're looking for. We're sorting the visual in the way that you're looking for. So that's the feature. This only changes how Power BI responds to authoring actions. So any of your existing reports, any of their behavior in the real world should not be affected. Any reports that are actually being consumed, right? And you should be able to recreate any previous sort or expand state after this release as well. And I know we're changing default behavior here. And, there are valid uses for having multiple fields in the x-axis field well that aren't covered by the hierarchy axis, like drill down. And when we make things conditional like this as well, there are always going to be some inconsistencies in terms of what happens when you perform an action, right? So, sometimes you'll perform an action and it won't drill down or it won't sort the way you expect it. Other times it will, and it might make for times when it feels unintuitive. But we're hoping that making these changes is going to feel intuitive, so you don't understand the rules. It just works the way you want it to whenever you make a new chart. And hopefully we're saving you a lot of time and a lot of internet troubleshooting by just giving you what you're looking for right out of the box. If we've missed the mark, let us know, right? Let us know what you think about the update. As we make more progress towards improving our visuals, towards smoothing out the authoring experience, we're going to be relying on your feedback every single step along the way to make sure that we're staying on course. But that's the feature. We really appreciate it. If you want to see a list of all of the changes we've made to defaults, check out the blog post. It's got a little table in there that just shows you the new rules. Thank you. Hope you enjoy.
Next, we've updated the display names for summarized fields to include the default or selected aggregation. Before this release, all default aggregates, not just the sum aggregate, will be dropped from the display name. We've received a lot of feedback that dropping this aggregate leads to users misinterpreting which aggregates were being applied, if any. So we hope that this change improves comprehension for both end users and new creators. This improvement will be available on all new reports by default. You can enable this behavior for existing reports by navigating to the default summarization section of the options menu and enabling the setting for aggregated fields always show the default summarization type. Next, we've expanded conditional formatting for the data labels feature. In last month's update, This improvement was limited to the visuals without a field in the legend field well. Now we've brought that same behavior to those cases as well. We're also happy to announce this month that translations are now supported for composite models on your Power BI datasets and analysis services. Translations enable you to show the tables and columns in your dataset in the language that the user prefers. Up until now, if the source had any translations defined, they will be ignored when building a composite model on Power BI datasets or an analysis services model. But starting with this release, any translations defined in the source will be exposed in the composite model as well. So the table and column names will be translated to the user's language, just like with source datasets. You can also add the translations in your composite model. If you do, you should set the altered property on the object to true to make sure your local translations are not overwritten by the translations defined in the source. If you currently have translations defined in your composite model, we'll automatically set the altered property for you. Next, mobile formatting options are now generally available. Mobile formatting options allow you to style and format visuals in the mobile optimized layout without affecting their formatting in the web layout. This gives you great flexibility and opens up a world of design possibilities for creating beautiful reports truly optimized for phone viewing. Mihal will take us through a demo of this.
This release, we are announcing the general availability of the mobile formatting options. Let's remember how to build great-looking reports for your mobile users with mobile formatting. So let's start from the beginning. Here is a report page that I already built. Now, I want to create for it a mobile optimized layout. To do so, I will go to View and press the Mobile Layout button. I added a few card visuals on the canvas, but as you can see, they are not looking so well. The text size is too large. I think that this is the time to start using the new mobile visuals formatting capability that we just added, starting with this card. First, you can see that we now have access to the visualization pane in the mobile layout. And when you select a visual, its format settings are available on the pane, set to the values of the current desktop layout. When changing a setting, the change will be applied to the visual in the mobile layout only and will not affect the way the visual looks in the desktop layout. I can also change the setting to visuals from the same type by multi-select them. To make it easier for you to track the changes, there is a mobile indicator next to the setting you modified in the mobile layout. The indicator lets you know that this setting was changed for the mobile layout and it is no longer inherit changes from the desktop layout. As you can see in this example, I have changed the text size and display unit to fit into the donut chart. You can see this change has no effect on the visual in the desktop layout. In addition, when I am changing this text setting in the desktop, those changes will not affect the value of those settings in the mobile layout, since they are no longer connected to the value in the desktop layout. Settings that were not changed in the mobile layout will continue to be connected to the desktop value, and changes made to the desktop will impact the appearance of the mobile layout. For example, in this visual, the value color has not been changed for mobile. Therefore, once I will change this setting in the desktop layout, the mobile visual will inherit this change. To remove the mobile changes, you can use the Clear Mobile Changes in the category level or in the visual level. Pressing on Clearing Mobile Changes will remove any change you made in the mobile layout and will sync back to the current desktop setting. Let's set back the mobile setting, and now we can continue with building the report. You can see that the cards are in different sizes and they are not aligned. So by selecting them together, and thanks to the visualization pane that contain the position and size properties, I will fix their sizes and align them. Now I will take the page navigator visual that was stacked vertically in desktop and work really well there, but it is not really suitable for mobile. So I will change its orientation to horizontal, and also the text size and few other styling options. Now, and this is really cool, I will take the rectangular shape and change it to be an underline for my page navigator by simply changing the shape from rectangular to line, and also few other styling options. I am also adding the logo and changing few more settings to get well-designed reports. I want to add the bar chart, but it is taking too much space as it is. So I will remove the legend and the x-axis, but I will add the data label so the viewer will be able to understand the chart values. This saved me so much space, so I can add more visual here. So this is my final report, and as you saw, it took me just few minutes to create the mobile layout. Now, let's see how the report looks using my mobile app. This is how it looks in portrait. You can see the mobile optimized layout that I just created. And when flipping to landscape, you can see the desktop layout, same as web. So this was just a glimpse of the mobile layout and the new mobile formatting option that you now have. Now you have the flexibility to be creative and design truly stunning mobile optimized reports.
Next, we've updated the sensitivity label experience this month by applying sensitivity labels from live connected datasets to the PBIX files you create from them. This will help you maintain the data's classification and protection as it leaves the Power BI service. We have several new and updated connectors for you in the data connectivity and preparation section. This month, we've updated the Dremio and Starburst enterprise connectors, and we're excited to introduce the new Profisee connector. The Profisee connector makes it fast and easy to access clean, complete, and accurate data to help organizations accelerate both operationalized BI and ad hoc analytics. You can load data through Profisee's guided import experience, then model and visualize your data directly in Power BI. Next, we have some exciting new features for you in the service section. First, our new cross-tenant dataset sharing capability is now available in public preview. This capability allows customers to share their Power BI datasets with external users in a way that lets these external users access the datasets from their own Power BI tenant. They can then work with this shared dataset in their own tenant and create composite models by meshing the shared datasets with their own internal data. The composite model can then be published on the service for reporting purposes. Parul will take us through this awesome new capability.
We are launching a cross-tenant dataset sharing capability, which will allow users from one tenant to share their dataset with another in a way that the consumer tenant users can see these datasets in their own tenant. They can build content on the top in their own environment. I will be walking you through the provider flow first. Provider flow is how you share this data set with the users. So we have this inventory data set open. We will share it with a B2B user. We will ensure that B2B user has minimum build access to the data set. And then we will go to the dataset properties and we will turn on the external sharing on this dataset. When we turn this on, the B2B users who have minimum build access to this dataset, they can discover, connect to, and work with this dataset in their own tenant. So I apply this, and with this, the provider flow is complete. Now I will walk you through the consumer flow, which is how these B2B users who have access to the dataset are consuming this dataset in their own tenant. So here, this is the desktop for consumer user. We go to the Power BI datasets here, and now we can see a fourth tab here, which is external data. When I click on it, I see the inventory dataset here. So this is a dataset that is shared with me by another tenant. I can here see which organization is sharing with me and some metadata around the dataset, and I can connect to it. I select the tables. And we can see that the external dataset is opening up here on the right-hand side. And it's open. Now I can go and mesh this data with the internal data. So unit cost data is my internal data set. I go and connect with it. And then we select the tables and we add the second data set here, and we have the composite model ready. And now we will just publish this data set to our web service. And we choose a workspace to publish this to. And our model is published to the service. Now we will go to the service and create a report on the top. So this is where we have published it. We can see sample data model has appeared up here. We can go to this composite model, and it would, at this point, this is just like any other composite model. We can create a report on top. We can analyze this in Excel. So let me create an auto report on the top. And we have the report ready, and then we can save this.
Next, you can quickly create and automatically generate a report in the Power BI service directly from many datasets. This makes it easy for you to explore all of the datasets you have access to and can help jumpstart report creation in the Power BI service. You'll see the option to auto-create a report on the Create page while you are selecting a published dataset to use for a report. Amanda will give us a great demo of this experience.
You can now quickly create an automatically generated report off of the majority of datasets in the Power BI service. This makes it really easy for you to explore all the datasets you have access to and can be helpful for jumpstarting report creation in the Power BI service. To get started, all you need to do is select the Pick a Published Dataset option on the Create page, and then you'll be able to pick if you want to auto-create a report, or through the split button, you can also choose to start from a blank report. Once you choose to auto-create, we'll automatically start looking through all the data in the model across multiple tables to come up with some interesting visuals to show you by default. From here, the experience is not any different than when you auto-generate a report off of a single table. You can also access these same options through the Data Hub. All you have to do is select what dataset you're interested in, and then through the Create a Report dropdown, you'll be able to select the Auto Create option alongside the From Scratch option. While we do support the vast majority of datasets in the Power BI service, there are just a few select cases we don't yet support. So in these cases, the dropdowns will only give you the option to start from blank or scratch. And that's all there is to it, an easy way to jumpstart your report creation in the Power BI service.
Next, we're excited to announce a new feature that will make B2B sharing easy for consumers. Power BI users who are guest users in any tenant will now see a new tab on their homepage called From External Orgs. The interface will allow you to filter and sort to easily find the content you're looking for. You can also see which organization is sharing a specific document with you. When clicking on an artifact in this screen, a new window will open and take you to the relevant provided tenant for that artifact. Parul will show us a demo of this feature.
We are launching a new capability that is going to make the discoverability of external content very easy for the users. External content is something that is shared with you by the external tenants. Today, this content is navigated to by clicking on the links that are shared with you in an email notification whenever these artifacts are shared with you, which is very hard for users to manage. So we are launching a new UX experience that would make the discovery of these artifacts very easy. So on the home page, you can now see a fourth tab called From External Orgs. When this tab will only show up for the users who are guests in any other tenant. When you click on it, you will see the list of all the content that is shared with you by the external tenants. As you can see, there you can see the name of the artifact here. You can see the name of the organization or the tenant that is sharing that content with you. You can see the workspace in which they reside. You can see when the artifact was last opened in your tenant, and then the type of the artifact. You can easily sort through these columns to make it easier for you to find the right artifact. You can also filter this by a keyword. As you can see, everything with POP in it shows up. You can also filter by the type of artifact. So all of the reports show up here. And then if you want to navigate to any of the content, let's say we want to open this data set, we click on the link and it opens up a new browser which takes you to the provider environment and opens up the artifact in the provider environment. So basically, clicking on the links in the discoverability UX would work just like clicking on the links in your email inbox notifications. When you click on them, they open up a new browser and they take you to the provider environment and open up the artifact there.
We've got some exciting new features for you in the mobile section. First, Power BI fonts are now available for your mobile devices. Until today, a Power BI report created with a font that was not available in the mobile device would display in the Power BI mobile app using the mobile device's default font rather than the font used by the report creator. But as of this release, they now support the full range of fonts available in Power BI Desktop. This means that in the mobile app, the report will look exactly as you designed it, with the same fonts that you choose when you created the report in Desktop. Next, the Power BI app for Windows is now aligned with the overall Power BI migration to Microsoft Edge Web View 2, which will bring you faster performance and a better browsing experience all around. To support Web View 2, the minimum OS required by the Power BI Windows app has changed to Windows 10 version 17763. App upgrades will not be available for Windows devices running on earlier versions. We also have a variety of updates for you in the embedded analytics section. First, we're excited to announce that a new library is available for embedding Power BI content in Vue.js applications. The new library makes it easy to embed Power BI content and leverage Power BI embedded analytics such as bootstrapping and phased embedding for better performance, applying styles to the embedded content, setting event handlers, and so much more. The library also includes a demo application which you can run in just a few easy steps. We've also made some improvements to our Power BI integrations with Jupyter, making it even easier for you to embed Power BI reports into Jupyter notebooks. The Power BI Jupyter library is a Python IP widget that brings Power BI embedded capabilities to Jupyter notebooks, allowing users to tell complete stories with their data in their Jupyter notebooks. The library supports embedding existing reports for both viewing and editing, and creating new reports based on data available in Power BI. The update includes changes to the available authentication methods and the report embedding process, minimizing the complexity and making the embedding process simple and quick. It is also now possible to export paginated reports with Power BI datasets as a data source when the caller is a service principal, given that all downstream data sources are SSO disabled. You can learn more about exporting paginated reports in our developer documentation. Next, we have several new and updated visuals for you in the visualization section. New visuals available for you on AppSource this month include the calendar visual by DataNow, the super tables visuals by Apps for Power BI, and the selection slicer visual by Walnut Innovation. Updated visuals include the shielded HTML viewer by Nova Silva, the drill down combo pro visual by Zoom Charts, and the intelligent narrative visual by Aria NLG. Finally, we recently introduced Data Preview as a new action on the Dataset Details page. Data Preview enables you to view selected tables and columns from the dataset and provides entry points for exporting the data to supported file formats, customizing it as a formatted table, and saving it as a paginated report. Our new capability added to the Data Preview is Show Query. This allows you to copy the DAX query used to create the table preview and save it to your clipboard. This may be useful for those who want to reuse that DAX query for future actions. We've also added column resizing to the data preview table. With a rendered table, a user will be able to resize the width of the columns through a drag handle, making the table preview more readable, especially for long column input values. And that's all for this month. As always, we hope you enjoy the updates, and please keep sending us feedback on what you'd like to see in upcoming releases. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.